Everyone. So let's talk about this week's stuff, which is fractions. And I just wanted to quickly go over this week content. So we're on week 2. And remember that to access anything that you want for any week, you click on that content tab. And then here's your textbook that you can click on to go to the chapter, in this case, chapter 2, multimedia resource library. Remember, when you click on that, you can choose videos, simulations, notes, and things like that that go with the content of that chapter. So it's additional help for you to look at. Discussion has nothing to do with Math Lab, so you do it separately. Just remember to spread your responses and your own response and the 2 responses to classmates, and that you do your regular your own response by Thursday night. Back to Math Lab. Here's your homework and here's your quiz. Um, so this week, so that's just a quick review of how you get to everything. So this week we're dealing with fractions, and I want to quickly go over some stuff that, in addition to what you will see in the book, so that you have more of an understanding of what to do if you haven't done fractions for quite a while. So let me move this around a little bit. Give me a second so that things are not in the way of my camera. And this. All right. So I'm going to just very quickly, sorry, give me a second. My camera was not set up correctly to begin with. So, all right. There we go, better. All right, so a couple of things that I wanted to talk about as far as fractions are concerned. You can't do fractions if you don't understand 2 things, factors and least common multiples, okay? So factors of a number of basically numbers that you can multiply together to get to that number. For example, factors of 2 are only 1 and 2, because the only 2 numbers that you can multiply together to get 2 are 1 and 2. There is no other number that you can do that. Factors of 3 are same, 1 and 3, okay? But then if you look at 2, you can do 1 and 4, and then 2 and 2. So 2 times 2 also gives you 4. So those are the 3 factors of 4. So we notice that every number has itself and 1 as a factor. That's always the case. But then in addition to that, what other numbers can you think of that multiply together would get to that number? Now, smaller numbers are easier because of what we know about multiplication table. We can easily figure that out. But with larger numbers, you kind of have to break them down until you find all the factors. Here's another example. For example, number 12, okay? You can have 1 and 12, of course, and then 2 and 6 also give you 12, and 3 and 4. So you see, the larger number it gets, the more factors it has. Here's factors of 15, okay? 1, okay? Well, I mean, I shouldn't really say the larger number, because it depends on whether they're odd, even, prime or not, okay? 1 and 15, because each number has itself and number 1 as a factor, and then 3 and 5 also gives you 15. So those are factors, okay? What numbers you can multiply to get to a number, okay? Common multiples, however, okay, are different. And we're going to work on least common multiple, which means the smaller number that 2 numbers have in common multiple, 2 numbers have in common. But let's talk about multiples first. Multiples are much easier. Multiples of a number are basically when you multiply a number by 1, 2, 3, 4, and go on. And so that means that a number has infinite number of multiples, because you can keep multiplying it. So multiples of 2 are 2, because 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8. Sorry, 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 6 is 12. So it can keep going and on, okay? Now let's try 3. 3 times 1 is 3, times 2 is 6, times 3 is 9, times 4 is 12, times 5 is 15, and we can keep going on, okay? I'm going to try one more, okay? Let's try number 8, okay? 8 times 1 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 3 is 24, times 4 is 32. This is where your multiplication table comes in handy. So notice that we can go on forever and ever, because we can always keep multiplying number by more numbers. Here's another one. Let's try 15. 1. 15 times 2 is 30. 15 times 3 is 45. Okay, so on and so forth, right? So the larger the number, the larger the, oops, sorry, the larger the multiples, okay? Now notice one thing over here. So when we talk about the least common multiple of 2 or more numbers, we're talking about the smallest multiple they have in common. So if you look at 2 and 3, for example, right, they each have their multiples, but notice that they have 6 in common. And 6 is the smallest multiple they have in common, because before that, they have no other multiples. Now, 2 and 3 have other multiples in common. If I continue this, okay, 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times 10 is 20. 2 times 11 is 22. 2 times 12 is 24. So let me continue that. Now let's continue this one. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 4 is 24. Okay. Notice that we suddenly have more multiples in common. We have 18 in common, and we have 24 in common, right? But the least common multiple is 6. That means the smallest they have in common. Doesn't mean that's the only one they have in common. Now, if you compare 3 and 15, you notice that the smallest multiple they have in common is 15. Right? If you compare 2 and 8, okay, you notice that the smallest multiple they have in common is 8. So that understanding is helpful when you're trying to come up with the least common denominator, so that you can make the denominator of two fractions the same, so that you can add or subtract them, okay, because that's what you need, okay? I'm going to make a separate video for that to show you how to do that, but this understanding is important, okay?